Well, good evening, Mountaineer Nation. I'm Joey Foster. I'm here with our buddy Shane. What's going on, Shane?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, a lot of wild things in college football. Next week is the NFL draft. Always a fun time to be a sports fan, even though it is supposed to be the slow period.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight, and from Notre Dame being sued to Baylor with their huge press conference. And we're going to talk about all that right after this. Well, welcome in everyone to another Thursday night right here on West Virginia channel, and we always cover the Big 12 on Thursday nights. So this is our brand new format. Monday nights it's going to be AI Monday. We'll talk about that come Monday night, but you'll want to be there for that. Tuesdays is our night off for right now, but we'll be a show in the future. Wednesday nights is a locker room with Frank Fear and Coach Greg Chris. Thursday nights right here with me and Shane covering Big 12, and on Friday night. It's Friday Night Live, and tomorrow night my guest will be Shane and Mike Osty. So Be sure and tune in for that. That's not till 8 o'clock on Friday night. All the other shows are at 7. Well, so Shane, we got big news out of Baylor. They've decided they're too good. They don't need no practice. They don't need the fan support. Let's just the hell with the fans. Let's cancel spring game.
Joey, I'll tell you what, it is a dumpster fire. I searched and searched and searched. I only found one article from Waco, Texas, KWTX, and then everything else was what? What did you see?
Well, I found the one video footage from it, and I'd like to play that for you right now to show everybody their press conference here. So we got that. So let me just find it here. Here we go. This is her press conference. Yeah. Thank you, Baylor. Thank you, Baylor. Well, I got good news about that, though, Shane.
Because I
reached out to a professional, a guy that works with bugs and especially crickets. He concentrates on crickets, and he told me exactly what they said. So I'm going to play a little short clip of what they said. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our press conference today. I just wanted to say that we decided to cancel the spring game. I'll take some questions from the audience. Questions out there. Let me look around here. Yes, sir, Fred.
Why'd you cancel the spring game?
Oh, good question, Fred. Caitlin Clark.
That's about what I got. Yeah, that's the answer. That's all Pat McAfee's talking about and everybody's talking about. But I'll tell you what I did find is like literally, it's like a Dr. Seuss book, and I'll read it verbatim. So it says the green and gold game will start at 12 p.m. at McLean Stadium on Saturday. Admission is free. Gates will open 11. Parking will be free in the McLean Stadium lots. The format for the day will focus on traditional practice with limited team competition periods during this event. See, they don't call it a game, this event. Yeah. I'll continue. With structure of the event geared towards a productive practice, there will be no broadcast or streaming option. So that basically says, hey, we're going to have a game, but it's not a game.
Yeah. It's just basically that's it. We're gonna have a game, but it's not a game. It's just a practice. We're gonna kick the ball up and down the field. We're gonna practice catching. We're gonna practice throwing. We're gonna practice running. And guess what, fans? You can come out and watch all of our kids run around the field a few times.
But this is a program that 8 years ago would have been in the contention for the new playoff format. I mean, they're not that far removed from when they were literally, winning. And they were 3-9 last year. Joey, do you think this is because they're afraid to have a practice and have kids just transfer out?
Well, it's a possibility because think about it. When you have a spring practice, you pretty much are sort of naming your 1 and 2s, right? So then all of a sudden your threes and fours start looking at the door and stuff. So maybe that is their logic behind it. They sure as hell couldn't afford to lose anybody right now. They're a dumpster fire
You know who
like
else
West
is
Virginia was.
you know who's living and dying by the dumpster fire, which is the transfer portal, is Neon Dion. He's either going to be a huge success next year and win 11 plus games, or he's going to win one game, because they just lost their number one cornerback recruit, Carmani, and then Dion goes on to basically give a backhanded compliment as he leaves. He wishes him the best. He wants him to be a better man and be a good human being. So basically, he's calling him a piece of trash as he's going out the door. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I know a lot of people are saying Colorado. I seen something the other day had them ranked as high as third in the Big 12, finishing third in the Big 12. And I'm sitting there going, what in the hell are y'all talking about? Look, Colorado, they've got some great talented players there, really talented players. Got a great quarterback. Deion's son is a great quarterback. But here's the problem. They've had so much attrition, so many people have left and so many people have come in. That's not a team yet, right? It's going to take them a year to gel as a team. At least it'll take them the first 6-7 games of the season to start learning each other and where each other is going to be out on the field. The right tackle needs to know what the left tackle's doing. The left tackle needs to know what the right tackle's doing, right? And the same with the guards and the center. Everybody needs to know and be on the same page there. If everybody's blocking left and plays going right, we got a problem somewhere, right? And that's just what it is when you got all these new players coming in. They might be fantastic players out of their schools, might be All-Americans, and that's fine if you're just plugging a hole here and there. But if you're creating a team out of it, that team can't be a team until they're together and work together for a long time.
Yeah, and reporters are questioning him, and Adam Rittenberg from ESPN, he says, Deion Sanders, and he tweeted this, or in X, I don't know what they call X'd it. Deion Sanders asked about players Colorado is losing in the portal. Quote, what are we losing? Reporter, potential starters. Where? Reporter, tight end, running back. Deion replied, you haven't been watching practice, huh? We good. I trust the recruiting team. I our coaches. Okay. Then he goes on to say, please have some faith in me. We good. We all right. What happens with the portal? You guys need to know. A lot of people are fighting for backups. When a guy's a starter and he transfers, you got to really think about that. I mean, sounds like he's selling vacuums.
Well, like I say, that might work in the NFL, right? You can change players around in the NFL because pretty much they're in the NFL. They know what to expect. They know the systems and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of these players he's getting in, all right, so they came out of the Big Ten or the SEC or the ACC or another Pac-12 school, right? But very few of them came out of another Big 12 school, if you look at it. So they don't know Big 12 football. You got a Pac-12 team coming into Big 12 football after they've been removed from it for 15 years. Colorado's been out of the Big 12 for over 15 years playing Pac-12 football. So here they are coming back in the Big 12. And they're year one in the Big 12, and they've got nothing but transfers, pretty much. First-year transfers, right? There's a few that are going to be second-year transfers, but most of them are going to be first-year transfers. What do you get, like 80 players?
He's 86 or 83. 83 of his players are transfers.
So it's crazy. And they don't know how to work together. They don't know how Deion's going to coach. They don't understand how all of them coaches are going to coach, right? They don't know none of those coaches. They don't know none of the systems. They're coming in. They're learning the system right now in spring game, in the spring, and then they're going to have fall camp, and they'll learn a little bit there. And then they start the season out, and they might do good for a game or two, but the problem is they don't know each other, so there's going to be some chaos, and there's going to be some learning pains, and then learning pains are going to cost you games in the Big 12. You can't have a team learning in the Big 12. That's what West Virginia had 2 years ago, and look what happened.
Right.
We went. What we go 4-8.
They got curb stomped. Yeah, a couple times.
So we had a
You
team that
know,
was learning.
it's Baylor, you know, they lost a running back to Vontae Citizen to Miami, and they did get a really good offensive lineman in, but is it going to be enough to replace? He basically told all the offensive linemen at the end of last year and called them out like 10 games in. We don't have an O line. Uh, I don't know. I was really on the Dion. Well, it's like watching a train wreck, and I'm a fan. I like to watch it. I love the hype it brings. I love the fact that Colorado was relevant, that the program had some juice. I like that. I like that optimism. I like that build up. I like to see these kids buy into the program. I like to see the staff and the faculty and everybody at Colorado just want the Buffs to do well. Not that they didn't before, but they believed. And I said that earlier in podcast. They believed, and I actually wore my Believe shirt today because of that. But I don't know. I mean, there's other stuff to talk about, and I want to, with the transfers, the SEC. I just found out today. It's been there. It's been in play for a couple weeks or maybe months. SEC teams can't poach from other SEC teams because Mississippi State lost a lot of kids in the transfer portal, so they kind of fixed that. So what is the SEC doing? Well, they're going to the Big 12, and all except for Colorado. Colorado is poaching from the SEC because they have the name attached to them, Mr. Prime Time. But Joey, what do you think? Do you think the Big 12 is the minor leagues for the SEC and the Big 10?
No, I don't think so. I think you take the top. If you take, let's say, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, and Alabama, right? You take those four teams. Maybe occasionally you can throw in LSU or a Penn State, and you can take maybe those 5 or 6 teams and say, yeah, those teams can beat just about anybody in the Big 12 on a consistent basis, right? But that's only at the top, right? That's only a couple of teams out of each league. So there's a whole Big 12. So and our whole Big 12 as a whole is better top to bottom than the SEC and Big 10. So you can't say we're a junior league when all of our teams are better than 3/4 of your teams in the SEC and Big 10.
Yeah, top to bottom. There's definitely they're more alike than they are different as far as skill set and being like I would say, everyone in the Big 12 is C+ to B+, year in and year out, where you have C- and D's in the Big 10, and then you have your A+. There's no middle of the bell curve there.
No,
just saying.
No. In the SEC, you have Florida, who's a dumpster fire, absolute dumpster fire. They're horrible. Probably be lucky if they win 3 or 4 games again this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you compare that to our worst team, probably Baylor. Baylor on Florida would probably be a pretty good game. Baylor on Florida would probably be a pretty good game.
Yeah. And I think it's easier. Well, I don't know. Baylor has a lot of money. So does Florida. Florida has a great brand. I think Baylor still has some of the shine from RG3. And when they're winning, they have a brand new stadium. Facilities are great. Waco's a great town. What's not to love? It's not like you're going into, say, I don't know. What's the small little town, sleepy town that you have to creep into? Clemson, Greenville. Greenville is a small little. It's a beautiful area. It's it's kind of like Morgantown, but Morgantown is less than an hour away from Pittsburgh, a major metropolitan area. Greenville is like 2.5 hours away from Atlanta, and but Clemson has had recent success, and the brand is worth a lot of money now. But I don't know. Let's talk about some conference realignments. The super conference rumor. What are your thoughts with that?
So I had some stuff. Let me see if I sent it to Frank, and I'm gonna see if Frank uploaded some of that stuff about the Super League. Here we go, Super League model.
Okay.
If so, it could be Back to the Future. 7 10 team divisions. comprised of
I'm
Power 5
excited.
schools plus Notre Dame. Yeah. 110-team division comprised of top group of 5 teams, other 40 in waiting, with the possibility of coming into the 8th division and current teams dropping out based on relegation, the British Premier League. So 7 major divisions per the athletic. There's going to be the ACC, Big East, Big 10, Big 8, Pac-10, Southwest, and the SEC. So West Virginia was listed in the Big East with Notre Dame, Boston
Mhm.
College, let me think who else. Virginia Tech, Pitt, Penn State was also in the Big East.
Yeah, I
So that
haven't
would be interesting.
broken. I
Here it
haven't
is. Here it
broken
is. There's the
down
new
it,
Big East. There
and
it
I'm
is.
pretty
There's the new.
excited. I'm pretty excited by that. Let me read through how I break it down because I think I have 70 teams. Let's start. Where should I start? I'll start with the West. Okay, you got Arizona, Arizona State, California, Oregon State, Stanford, UCLA, USC, Washington, and Washington State. Okay. So it's basically the Pac 12. All right.
Right.
Just bring it back to Pac 12. Okay. That's the West. I'm excited for that. What really just if you are a sweaty football nerd and you were born in the 70s or the 60s, you remember that the Southwest Conference would have Arkansas, Baylor, Houston, Oklahoma State, SMU, TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas A&M. That's old Southwest Conference football, brother.
Yep.
That folded in '96, but it would keep these heart-stopping in-state rivalries between Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Baylor. And man, that would be some juice. Man, imagine playing in that conference or going to games week in and week out or covering that. But I mean, let's talk about the Plains. That's going to be fun too. It's like the old. You got BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas State, Kansas, Minnesota, Nebraska, Utah, and Wisconsin. What's not to love about that, right?
Right.
Now that doesn't have as many, great matchups, but it's still going to be a solid division.
You had a
You have the
comment here.
Midwest.
You had a comment there that
Yeah.
says Southwest didn't have the Oklahoma schools. Wet blanket
Yeah,
said.
yeah, I know, but you have to add that in there, wet blanket. I mean, this is what the future would hold. You'd have to kind of live with it, but yeah, they didn't have the Oklahoma schools. Hey guys, Midwest would have Cincinnati, Illinois, Indiana, Louisville, Michigan State, Missouri, Northwestern, Ohio State, and Purdue. So you still get that Michigan, Ohio State rivalry. Missouri, I don't really know how they'd fit in there. That's the only odd one out. But Louisville and Indiana could be a rivalry. Louisville and Cincinnati could be. Now here this goes back to old school Northeast football, and they call it they would have to call it like the Northeast Conference. But just think of like 1992, 1988. You got Boston College, Maryland, Notre Dame, Penn State, Pitt, Rutgers, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and WVU, and Virginia. So I know I'm going through them fast, but just think back to the old Notre Dame Penn State games in the 90s, and then even Rutgers and Penn State still play. You have Pitt and Penn State playing year in and year out. West Virginia playing Pitt and Penn State and Virginia Tech. Boston College gets to play WVU. WVU gets to do the sports whatever, I can't even say it. The trophy they play when they beat Syracuse, Schwarzwalder, I think it is. And then let's talk about the Southeast Conference. Okay, this is like a juiced up ACC. You got Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Miami, NC State, North Carolina, South Carolina, UCF, and Wake Forest. Nothing. I'll tell you what. There, then you go on to the South. Okay, I'm going fast, but guys, bear with me. This is the SEC revamped with adding Georgia Tech in here. So you got Alabama, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. So basically, it's the SEC. We throw in Georgia Tech.
So here's the thing about all that is Gordon Gee wants this. Gordon Gee
Yeah, he does.
wants this. SEC and Big Ten do not.
No,
I don't
they
think
don't.
it's going to go any. I don't think it's going to go anywhere because of that.
No,
But
I don't think so either.
yeah, they had this meeting there last week. Gordon Gee, he was real big about this. He wants this. But Gordon Gee, while he might be a staple in college football, he's on his way out the door. So how much influence would he even have right now? He wouldn't probably have a lot. So,
They do have the second, a top tier guy from the NFL, in there weighing in. That might have some juice, but you have to realistically get these, the SEC and Big Ten schools. You have to guarantee them $70 million a year, and I think Notre Dame made 55 or 60 last year, if I recall, as an independent. I think that's maybe a great idea for Clemson and Florida State while they wait for those. In 2 years, the ACC is going to fold, guaranteed, because the ESPN's not going to renew the contract. I mean, but in the interim, they're going to be held to their feet held to the fire for $100 million. Would it benefit them to maybe pay that $100 million? Because hear me out, if they say Florida State, they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're good. Okay. What do they get? 30-40 million if they're independent and they get into the playoffs? That kind of offsets that buyout. And then they get maybe another 10 million for being out of the ACC. So you can't step over dollars to pick up dimes if you're Florida State and Clemson. You got to think, this gets us out of that muck, gets us a little bit more money, and makes us more attractive for another conference to kind of pick us up. So I'm just spitballing here, Joey.
Let's go to the chat for a second. Let's say hi to everybody. We got Jackson Johnson, of course, in here. What's up, Big 12 Nation? Thank you, Jackson, for all you do for us right here. Post some links. Timothy Green is here. What the hell is going on at Baylor? Please tell me. And we was covering it about the time he said that. So Paxton's in here. Paxton, appreciate you being in here. He said who would win Baylor versus Arkansas. I think Arkansas would win that one. And Timothy Green agreed with me. He said Arkansas. So Wet Blanket's in here. He says Southwest Conference didn't have Oklahoma schools, which we talked about already. Kelly McCord's in here. Hey, Kelly, nice to see you in here. Paxton says Texas staying in the SEC.
Yes.
Paxton says Super League will be only 2 leagues. I do not agree with that. Now, here's why. Okay, Paxton, let me explain something. If you look at West Virginia alone, let's just look at just West Virginia. Let's say there's a Super League and West Virginia is not part of it. I think they would be, but let's just say they're not. Okay. Let's say West Virginia is not part of the Super League. That's 1.8 million fans in the state of West Virginia that watch all the West Virginia games. Now, here's the thing about West Virginia. Almost every West Virginia fan I know has a second favorite team, like to watch on TV. I don't mean that they root for them too much or anything. They just watch them. Mine's Tennessee. Mine's Tennessee. A lot of people's is Georgia's. A lot of people's is Alabama's. Some people's is Ohio State's. But everybody in West Virginia has somebody. Now, the thing about it is our second team is always somebody from the SEC or Big Ten. It's never somebody out of the ACC. Very seldom is it somebody watching Virginia Tech, somebody out of the ACC.
No.
So what happens there is if you take West Virginia, you drop them and say, okay, you're not in the Super League. Well, our fans all of a sudden are going to say, well, why do I need to watch Georgia? We're not going to be playing them anytime soon.
No,
we're a group of 5 now. So all of a sudden you've lost 1.8 million viewers to your Georgia game. Well, probably not that many, but you've lost a couple 100,000 viewers every week.
Yeah.
Just from West Virginia to a Georgia game. You lost a couple 100,000 viewers. So you got to think about that on a grand scale now. You're talking about a bunch of teams and you're going to leave out of a Super 2 conference. And think about every one of those teams and all the people you're going to be losing in viewership. And you're looking at probably 60 million people that you would lose overall, 40 to 60 million people, viewers. That's going to drop those numbers down. All of a sudden, you won't be making that 70 million anymore in the Big Ten and that 60 million anymore in the SEC. Now, all of a sudden, there's going to be dropped down the numbers like the Big 12's getting when you go to
Yeah.
the Super 2 league because you've lost so many viewers. So careful what you wish for there, people. If you're wishing for a Super League because your team is going to be in the Super League, careful what you wish for.
But Joey, I think the Super League's going to suck up, 15 teams, maybe more, at least. So you're going to get, West Virginia's going to get in, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, Utah, TCU. All these teams are going to make it in. What's gonna be difficult is the 60 through 70. Because West Virginia falls right at like 48 through 50, depending on how you're ranking them. Okay, but you got like Army, Air Force. They're just not bringing in the dollars that the bigger teams are. You have your Wake Forest. Those are the teams that are going to be kind of like really hustling to get in, and that's where you got to have that underleague division that was mentioned. With your Boise State and your Tulane and Miami of Ohio, New Mexico State, those kind of teams. But I really think it's going to go to two eventually. I think the Big 12 isn't good. It's looking pretty good right now, but we'll see what it takes, Joey. This is what the Big 12 needs. And this has been said over and over again. I'm not the first person to break it to you, but I'm going to repeat it. They need Utah, West Virginia, or Oklahoma State, or somebody else, okay, to run the table. Okay, Utah has a good team, could do it. Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy's due for having one of those breakout years where he has guys that have been there a couple years, and that's what he typically has his good teams that have a lot of seniors on. And this year is going to be one of those years, I think, for Mike Gundy. West Virginia. Okay, let's talk about the Mountaineers. Having a home game against Penn State. Penn State's losing that key receiver that gouged them last year. I mean, they come into Morgantown. Morgantown's a tough place to play. It's going to be a night game, August 31st, Saturday night. And it's going to be like a gold rush or something. Going to be electric. And if they win and West Virginia runs the table, that is fantastic for the Big 12. Okay, because that gives them credibility. They need another TCU run like they did 2 years ago. TCU just tore through the season and finished strong. They laid an egg in the championship, but hey,
guys, we need that week one. We need that week one. Remember when TCU played Michigan in the playoffs? I think every Big 12 fan in the country was a TCU fan that night. I mean, I was sitting there screaming and yelling, cheering TCU on. Right? I was excited as could be.
Yeah.
But guess what? We need that again this year. We need every Big 12 fan to, whether you support West Virginia or not, you need to support West Virginia against Penn State, because that's going to be a key game for the Big 12, because West Virginia expected to be a little bit better than last year, right? And last year they were picked last in the conference, finished fourth in the conference, 9-4. So, if we're expected to be better than last year, you can look at another 9 or 10 win season we're expected to win. We need that one of those wins to be over Penn State. If nothing, for nothing else but the Big 12. We need that win to be over Penn State.
Hey, and I am a fair weather Big 12 fan. If Colorado, I've been crapping on them all day today, but if Prime gets hot and they make a tear and they go 5-0, I'm going to be a big Buffs fan, okay? Because I want the Big 12 to be successful, because I want the conference to succeed. I want them to have the leverage when they renegotiate 2 years to get a little bit more money. That's just me.
Yeah. So Paxton says, when we're talking about West Virginia and the Big 2, he says, I feel bad for y'all. Don't get me wrong. I hope y'all make it.
Paxton, we're scared. We're scared.
I'm not as scared as a lot of fans are. And here's why. I know that, they had mentioned before that they want teams that make over $100 million a year. Well, that's West Virginia.
West Virginia does, yeah.
So, I think that we'd be fine there. Also, they want winning programs. Well, we're the 15th winningest program in college football. So that's on our side.
And
they
want
a top
Locked
25.
On Big 12. All those podcasters acknowledge that. West Virginia is like they're getting in. You know.
Yeah. West Virginia is there because I mean, we're the winningest program in the Big 12,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We have the most. We're a top 25 all time program. I don't know if any other
Yeah.
Big 12 program is a top 25 all time, but West Virginia is. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go towards West Virginia to get them into the Big Two. You might say small state, small viewing audience, but you got to look at, we got the Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C. market. Washington, D.C. market, I know a lot of them are Maryland and a lot of them watch Maryland, but believe me,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them there that watch West Virginia too. And probably are more West Virginia fans there than Maryland. And the same way in Pittsburgh, it's about split. It's about split 50-50 between West Virginia, Pitt, and Penn State. Or, not 50-50, but 33% each. West Virginia, Pitt, and Penn State, and Pittsburgh. It's tripled.
Yeah, Charlotte, Charleston, West Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, down to like Greenville. That's all still here and there. Hey,
Prime.
Chris, Blue and Gold dude, lived in South Carolina. He was a Mountaineer fan. I mean, there's Mountaineer fans are scattered all over. I mean, I can name 2 that live out in Oklahoma. So, I mean,
they are everywhere, but and especially because there's not a lot of jobs in this state. I think that's what a lot of people realize. A lot of people say, "Well, there's only 1.8 million people in West Virginia. Sure, they're all Mountaineer fans, and that's great, there. But that's all that's here. They don't count the 70,000 that are down there in Charlotte, North Carolina right now. Working.
Yeah. Mountaineers are prolific breeders.
Yeah.
They have 4 or 5 kids, 3 maybe. Guys, they have kids. They go either to Morgantown, they go down to Charleston, they go and they move out of town. They go to other than like DC, they live in Pittsburgh. A lot of them live in Pittsburgh, Columbus. Guys, they're all over. So it's like that with a lot of schools, though. So I'm just excited.
Timothy,
I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for the Big 12 to prove that they're not a shit conference. And I'm excited for the commissioner. He's being aggressive, and I think he's really trying to get a brand like Louisville or Miami. I mean, if he could get any of those 2, that's instant credibility, especially if they get the U. Because I don't think that Miami's getting much love from the Big Ten or SEC from what I'm reading. And boy, you bring them in, and right there, you just right. Because 2001, the 2001 team has to be in contention for one of the best football teams ever put together.
So Timothy has a question here. So Joey and Shane, I have a question. What are the top 4 teams in the Big 12 with a chance to win the conference? I'll give you my 4, and then Shane will give you his 4.
Okay.
I'm going Utah first and foremost. I think Utah's going to be a great team coming in. So I'm going Utah. Second, for me, is going to be Kansas State. Kansas State's returning pretty much everything from last year. And we all know what they did last year. Kansas, same situation, returning everybody from last year, coming back in. And West Virginia, also same situation, pretty much returning everybody on offense. Lost a few defensive players, but guess what? We brought in probably better talent than what we lost on defense. So we're okay there. I think that's your top 4. I know a lot of people would put Oklahoma State in there. I would, except I think Oklahoma State is one running back heavy. And I think if that one running back goes down, Oklahoma State's going to have a bad season. How about you, Shane?
I think I'm going to give you 5, no particular order. And of course, let's take West Virginia out of there because you guys know how we feel about the Mountaineers, Tim. Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 teams other than the Mountaineers. Okay, I'm going to start with Utah. I think they're solid. Okay, I'm a big fan of Kansas, and then right below them, I'm saying no particular order, but I'm giving you the order: Utah, Kansas, then Kansas, and Utah's up here. Kansas and Oklahoma State are right below there, and then of course I'd put them out, and then Kansas State. Kansas State, Kansas, Utah, and Oklahoma State. Those are mine.
Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I was telling my grandson to let my dog out. Dog's over here driving me crazy.
You don't want the dog peeing.
So Paxton, Paxton's 4. Kansas, Kansas State, West Virginia, and Utah. Think about this.
Paxton, you're right.
Couple of years
I love
ago, could you imagine us sitting here talking about Kansas winning the conference a couple of years ago? But they have a great opportunity.
Guys,
yeah,
those guys could, put their head through a brick wall if you want them to.
He's Arizona 5th.
Paxton, that's to be determined. They lost their coach, and I have never heard of a first-year coach making a huge run.
Especially first-year coach, right?
With the transfer portal.
Who lost some key players that went to Washington, right?
Yeah,
they went to Washington, so they lost some key players. So you got a new coach coming
quarterback. They kept their quarterback. They kept some key guys, but
and they're changing conferences. They're leaving the Pac-12, coming into the Big 12.
Guys,
brand new schedule.
It's going to be tough. So, they're playing. It's different if you're playing a road game and your kids have been to. Your kids are used to going to Corvallis or used to going to, to play UCLA. They're not used to going to Morgantown or traveling a whole way across the country to go UCF. I mean, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for those kids. But 5th, I can buy 5, Paxton. But people that are putting them number 1 are smoking crack.
Yeah. I don't see that happening at all. I don't see Colorado in the top 5. I don't see Arizona in the top 5. I don't see Baylor in the top 5.
Let me give you some. Let me give you some. I'm gonna be watching these guys. Okay, here you go. UCF, Colorado. Definitely. Okay, don't sleep on them. TCU, even Texas Tech. Those are all ones that could be, come out of nowhere and make a run. So, guys, it's anybody's. BYU's even decent, guys.
See, I forgot about Texas fantastic. Tech. So while I go in my top 4, I put West Virginia. I'm gonna take West Virginia out and put Texas Tech there in top 4.
Nah,
put West Virginia down the 5.
When we talked, you messaged me like 2 days ago, and I said West Virginia could be anywhere from 4 through 7. I'm comfortable, and I'm comfortable putting them anywhere in that middle. Higher than 4, like 5, I feel okay with. But I put those other teams ahead of them just for what I've seen over the past couple years. But BYU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia are kind of right in that sweet spot there. Same with Oklahoma State, maybe.
I still think BYU is another year away. I don't know why, but I do. I feel like BYU is another year away. I think this is the year for Texas Tech. I thought last year was the year for Texas Tech, but they came out and laid an egg. But, maybe they get it turned around this year. They pretty much got all the returners back. They look good. So can they get off to a fast start this year?
BYU will have some ginormous, married 24-year-old, 6'5", 300-pound lineman that is smart as a whip coming off a mission that they didn't realize was going to, it just. Guys, that's the way BYU works. You don't know. I mean, they get these guys and they're mature, they're strong. But John said, I'd rather have Miami and Pitt than Louisville. You know what, John? I would as a Mountaineer fan. But if I'm the Big 12 and I want money, you're not going to get money from Pitt. You're not going to get more money from Pitt. Louisville's going to provide you more money. If you look at the revenue that Louisville has in a half-decent football year and a half-decent basketball year is gonna be like what Pitt and Miami put together would make. And you look up the numbers. Frank Fear always has those numbers up, but I'm not a numbers guy. But I agree. Shane wants to watch West Virginia play the backyard brawl every year, and Shane wants to see the Mountaineers, play those games. Louisville, it hasn't been since like maybe 2005 that we've had a rivalry with those guys, those jabronis. But, Pitt, bring them in. Miami. I remember, 96, West Virginia with 20 seconds left was up 7-3. They punted it. Miami blocked it, ran it back for a touchdown. West Virginia lost 10-7. So I remember that game like.
When did you say it was?
I was on the 96.
Yeah.
I was on the sideline. Crazy.
Yeah,
guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
Pitt
that reminds me
and
of
Miami.
that reminds me of 2011 when we played LSU and Tyrann Matthews, Geno Smith threw the pass. Tyrann
Yeah,
Matthews jumped up and knocked it down, intercepted, and run the damn thing back. I mean, we
yeah,
were going in to lead the game. You know, we were
right.
driving
That
and going to
momentum, that momentum
take the
changed.
lead.
Yeah,
There was what 2.5, 3 minutes left in the game. We were going to
yeah,
take the
yeah,
lead,
yeah.
and that interception and Tyrann Matthews running it back. Yep, same kind of
Wow.
situation. It was just crazy, 2011. Um, so Jason Rollinson's in here, finally. How you doing, Jason?
Hey,
Let's go
Jason. It's good to
Mountaineers.
see you.
So they said, so Paxton said Houston and Cincinnati at the bottom. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I would say.
definitely
I
agree.
would say.
Although Houston, finally has a coach. They finally have a
Mhm.
coach, a real coach. So can they do something with that Houston talent down there? I mean, now it's his first year, so it's going to take him a year to make it. But you might want to watch out for Houston. They might sneak up on some teams because he's a damn good coach.
Hey, this is just an observation, but I think if you're in a city, it's really hard to bring kids from a city into a city. They want to go to a different this is my opinion. When I've talked to kids when I was in school, they just wanted to get out of that suburban environment. That's why they came to Morgantown. Kids want to play ball in a college town. That's why Pitt
Yeah.
hasn't been successful, because they haven't had a practice facility. They're finally, when the Steelers are building their own practice facility as we speak, the Panthers are going to get their own practice facility. I think that'll help Pittsburgh immensely. The university will finally be able to use that as a recruiting tool. Now, with that being said, Georgia Tech, Houston, UCLA, UCLA, you can bring them there for NIL because it's in Los Angeles, but it's really hard to bring kids into, just the football culture just doesn't adhere as well. You don't feel it. It's not palpable like it is when you go into Louisiana and you go to Clemson or go to freaking heck, Blacksburg, go to East Lansing, Michigan State. I mean, these are all great college towns with that feel. And on Friday, Saturday, the night before a game, you can feel it in the air. The morning of the game, you feel it in the air. It's just the energy, brother.
So
Anyways,
Don
tangent.
says, hey man, West Virginia was picked last year, so they can be picked anywhere. It don't matter. But imagine that. But I get emojis for good conversation. So good deal. And Paxton says he has no clue about Arizona State. I don't think anybody does,
No one does.
except that we
They have
project they'll be bad.
Yeah, that's a party school. All they care about is boozing and cruising. I don't think they give two craps about football.
Well, West
I
Virginia
think
used
the
to be
girls
a
there are
party
so
school,
good
but we
looking, no one
had a good
cares.
football.
Yeah,
West Virginia used to be the one party school in the country, but we had a good football team. So.
that's right. But guys, I'll tell you what, this has been a great show. Joey, once again, we pulled a rabbit out of our hat. I think we made it entertaining. And guys, like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. We're going to be here a couple times a week. And as the season goes, we're going to get into a rhythm. And sorry about the spelling, damn phone, laugh a lot. Could be worse. I got put into Facebook jail because I was talking about a Cinnabon, and I said I would kick someone in the rear to find out where they got that. And it said I would kick a nun in something else, and because it did spell check, and I don't know how it got that, but I was in Facebook jail for 14 days.
I stay in Facebook jail. I got in
Yeah.
Facebook jail the first time. Well, the first time I was put in Facebook jail, it took a long time, but I always posted links in Facebook in different groups and stuff. Whenever we went live on the West Virginia channel or the Florida State channel or the Miami channel here on the network, I'd always go to Facebook and post those links in those groups, right? And did that for a year. And then all of a sudden they decided to suspend me or put me in jail for 14 days.
Yeah.
Then I came back out of jail and I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to doing it. I went back to doing it. One post. I posted one time. They put me in jail for 30 days.
Oh, no.
And then every time I post now, if I make one post I don't even have to put a friggin' link. If I put one post somewhere, they friggin' put me in jail. So I just gave up on Facebook, man. I don't even go in there anymore. I still have an
I just
account because I talk to people on Messenger, but that's it.
Yeah, that's what I use it for. I use it for looking at friends have their kids on there, just see like what's going on with family members. But they
Shane
need to
needs a
pick
big
better
pair of
friends, Joey. Jason, you're killing me.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, all right, guys. I guess we'll wrap up this show for tonight because he's got another show. Tell him about your show coming up so everybody can go over there and watch it.
well, Wednesdays, I'm on the Steelers Dynasty podcast with the Bad Bubba Brewer, and then on Fridays, of course, Joey, I'm going to be on with you, right, at 8 o'clock.
Right.
And then at
Right.
9, I'm going to be doing the Triple B Megacast, and we're going to be reviewing our WrestleMania picks, talk about pop culture and that type of thing. So yeah, you can get at least 2 more hours of me before the week's over.
WrestleMania fans, he's your man because it sure ain't me. I tell you that. I don't know nothing about wrestling. Used to back when I was back when I was a lot younger, but I got out of wrestling a long time ago. So
I am the casual viewer on the show, so I just kind of, they're sweaty and serious about it, and I just kind of like, this guy has a nice gimmick,
Yeah.
But it's fun,
So one more time, I'm gonna go over our rundown for this channel of what we're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
do. Monday nights, and I'm gonna explain this in a little bit real quick while we got a bit of time. Monday night's gonna be AI Monday. We're calling it AI Monday. It's artificial intelligence, and that's exactly what it is. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick a team. I don't know who it's gonna be yet. We'll talk about it probably over the weekend and decide on a team. And we're gonna let artificial intelligence pick or tell us what that team's going to do this year. In other words, they're going to predict every game. I'm going to get artificial intelligence to predict every game for that team. If it's TCU, they're going to predict every game. And at the end of the year, they're going to give us a final prediction of what they think TCU is going to go this year. Now, when we get that in, once we have that, we're going to continue to show on because then Shane is going to take his little magic 8-ball and he's going to go down through TCU's schedule and he's going to tell you who Magic 8-ball says is going to win that.
Yeah.
And we're going to compare the notes between the AI and the Magic 8-ball. And then we're going to find out at the end of the season which one was right. And we'll give them a nice prize, whichever 8-ball or AI, whichever one it is. We're going to give them a nice $100 gift card or something. And and we'll just see which one's right. So that's going to be Monday nights. And I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be so much fun.
Because it's going to be fun.
Because especially these AI things, when I create the AI, we'll play it. We'll play whatever AI creates, which will be a whole video about probably anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes long.
And Joey, AI might read it as Yoda. It might read it as Elmer Fudd. You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get.
It might read it as Lou Holtz.
And you never know. Native. That could be fun. But then on Tuesday nights we don't have a show yet, but we're calling it download or upload Tuesday or video Tuesday. We're going to put out the videos on Tuesday. We'll drop some videos. I'll drop a video. Probably Shane will drop a video. I'll get Frank and them to drop a video on Tuesdays, so you'll have a few videos to choose from. Wednesday nights is always Frank Fear and Coach Greg Chris with Mountaineer Locker Room. It's every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And then Thursday nights from now on is going to be this show, which is just going to be covering the Big 12. We'll talk about everything news in the Big 12 and what's going on around the Big 12 as well as around the country. So, tune in for that. That's every Thursday at 7. And then on Friday nights, including tomorrow night, is Mountaineers Live at 8 o'clock. And tomorrow night I will have Shane on as a guest as well as Mike Osty. So that's a show. It's a long-running show. We've been doing that show for a couple of years on this channel. We got out of it for the past 6 months or so. We've not done it we've done it randomly, but now we're going to get back into doing it every Friday night. So we've got every day covered for you right here, Monday through Friday, and we're going to take the weekends off, and you can too, and we'll go back and watch the videos from the week and get caught up if you missed something. So,
and the only change will be is occasionally we might do it a half an hour later or an hour earlier, but we're going to be on that day. It's going to be within that specific time frame, and hit your notification button so you know when we're going to be streaming so you can watch us.
Exactly right. So with that, we'll get out of here. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next time.